My name is Emily Collins, and I'd like to talk about my target group. I went from the Glendale Concern area, specifically renters who are looking for apartments. First are my 5 key graphs. The average rent is $1,700, and annual median wage is $60,210. Unemployment is 3.9% to 4.3%, and hourly median wage $13.29, and home ownership is 37%. From these facts, I can calculate the maximum affordable rent, which is $1,505.5, and the max affordable house is $180,600. You can see from the formulas how I derive this information. What seems to be driving costs are inflation and the number of people moving to this area, which decreases supply of houses and also increases some demand, which both lead to driving up prices. Next, I'd like to share a graph that shows how these facts can increase the ability of people to purchase homes. It shows that 80% in our area are cost burdened and 20% are really able to purchase homes. This comes from the fact that there is a $200 difference from the $1,700 monthly income and the $1,500 affordable rent of monthly income. So there's a $200 difference between the rent provided and the monthly income. Next, I would like to introduce this first city. Actually, show you my citations for that area. Next, I would like to introduce the city of Plymouth, Massachusetts. They instituted the Affordable Care Act. They're having a very similar situation as us, with housing crunch, high prices, low shortage of houses, and they had accessible living dwelling units to solve the problem. Basically, what they did is they increased their zoning by increasing the size of things, allowing renting them out, and made the process easier to build. And in the end of 6 months after implementing this, they created 32 homes. Shows the supply graph before and after, and the citation. Next, I would like to talk about who P-list, art pronunciation. There's also have trouble with housing. They have very high prices due to popular Hawaii, stuff, and in an island you don't really have much room to grow. So they also turn to the accessible dwelling units, and by waiving fees, they save the builders $11,000 in savings per house, and 10% of the housing mix were coming from the accessible dwelling. And they created 172 in about a 2-year period. And here's the supply graph before, after, and then my citations. Finally, I'll talk about the city of Minneapolis. Basically, they're also having housing crunch, and instead of creating new laws, they instead relax regulations and more loosen their hold instead of being as strict. And they also gave incentives and waive permits the town in Hawaii, and this also helped renting because they made it where you can rent them out, and several neighborhoods in that town, one called Wartown, their housing was 80% made of renters, which shows a lot of potential, and they created 137 in a 4-year time period. Could this work locally? I believe it could. However, I think it would be helpful to bring investors into it because instead of using a lot of our tax money, also you'd have to reassure smaller towns that we're not going to change their way of making money and make the zoning to areas that are not like downtown. In the end, I believe ADUs would have a beneficial impact on this art area, and it is something that we need to change soon due to our pricing keeps going up and up. But we do have a lot of investors, so I believe we need to rely on that. And finally, thank you for your time, and the citations will be down in my discussion post as well, just in case you need to get a better look at it. Thank you.